Hi everyone and welcome back. So now next thing we are going to do is creating a GraphQL type definitions and a resolver. So we are going to create a folder GraphQL, and inside this we are going to have type definitions and the resolvers. So we can create a folder something like, first of all, root index.js file, which will merge the type definitions and resolver. Then we can have types and resolver. Okay. Now inside types we are going to have a types for comment, post and user. So we can say either you create a separate folder, or you can say comment.js, post.js and user.js, or you can create a separate folder like comment, put the types and resolver together. Similarly, create a post folder, put the types and resolver together. So these are all types. Similarly, for resolver we can create a file comment.js, post and user.js. So we are done with the, at least with the structure. Now we can start writing the type definition. Like for the user, what all types we are going to have. So let's go to types and user. Here we are going to have export default and export this type definition. So what we are going to have, type, let's say user. I mean, these types are going to be the same whatever we have seen in the last set of videos. Type user, here instead of id we are going to have underscore id, which is of type string required. Then we have a name, which is also be a string. Same set of columns which we have seen in the database table. This is again going to be a string required. Age is going to be integer, and then we have set of posts which is going to be an array, single post, and this is required, and comments which this user has published. So we are going to have two other types, comment, there we will define this. Okay, now type query, what all query we see on the type user. So we can have one single user which will take underscore id as an input. Okay, and it is going to give us the user object, and there is another query users which is going to give us the array of user, right? And mutation, let's talk about mutation, because everywhere we are going to copy the same mutation, like create CRUD operation, create user. This is going to take, now here we are going to define a new type, create user input, and it is going to return a user. Similarly, we have update and delete user, so I will copy this. Okay, update user, which will take id as a string and the payload. We have discussed this thing in our last video. So this is the id, IDs of type id, and second argument is update user input instead of create. Now this is what we are going to define. Then delete user, this is going to take id as a string as an input. Okay, this should be a string because it's a UUID. I need to fix that. So it is a string. Here also it is a string because in the, it's a MongoDB underscore ID. Okay, so we have mutations. Now we can define all these two different types we have created as a custom types. For me, these looks more like a TypeScript interface. In TypeScript also we specify things like this. We create enums, we create interface, interface extends one another enums you can extend, right? You can define the type enum for a particular type. And then we have last is update user input. So it is going to be the same, but the fields are optional, not required. Here all these things are required. Okay, so we have defined the type definition. For this error will go away. Why it is greeting export default. Oh, sorry for that, it was typo. Similarly for the post, right? In post, what we are going to have, the post entity. I will try to create something, then we'll see. So here we have post. Inside post, instead of like user, we are now creating post. Post will have ID, title, body, published. So it will be ID, title, body, published is boolean and required. Okay, then remaining items is like comments. Comments is going to be a type of array of comment, and the author who published it, author, and the date. So here, I mean, let's leave the date. Date is another type we can have. Type dates, and it can have two dates, like published, when it was published. This is of type string, and updated, whenever you are updating, and these are optional. Okay, so we can have a date of type dates, not required. Now the query, like same as the user, we will define the query and mutation for the post. Methods will be different, obviously. So in the query, we want to say, okay, you can get a single post by ID. It is going to return the post. Okay, to return all the set of posts, we can have this query. It is still going to return the post. This is list of posts, and here instead of create user, we are going to have a create post and all. I can copy the same set of types, create user. The only difference is instead of create user and update user, it will be create post and update post. Post input, update post input. This is a name, title, body. We will change it. So this is going to be create post input. It is going to return post quickly, right? Now we are familiar with how to define the types and all. So this is quick for us. This is also create post and delete post. ID, and this is going to be the single post object, and it is returning the deleted post. Update post input. Now everything is update post, that is fine. Now inside the body, right, create post input and update post input. So it is going to have a title, body, published, which is going to be a boolean, and author, which will have its ID. Okay, this is going to be the ID for the author, and the date, which is dates input, like when it is getting created and published. That is optional, leave it. And in the update, we are going to have all these, not the author, only published, all these flags. Okay, so this is update. Now we may also have the subscriptions here. Subscription means like when you wanted to create a post, you wanted to publish an event. So I will create a type subscription. In type subscription, I wanted to say send every time when you are creating a post, I will send it, and this is my subscription payload. We have done this in the last video. It's going to be the same set of subscription. This is my subscription payload, and I have this mutation type, and mutation type is create, update, delete, right? A kind of enum. Okay, I will format this. Doesn't look good. Yes. Now I have this mutation type. This is the payload, and this is a single subscription I have for the posts. Now inside the post mutations, I have to publish an event. so that my subscription can handle the create, update, delete events. Okay, this is about post. Similarly, you will write comments. So what I will do is I will get this done for the comments also. I can just directly copy this and change things for the comments. It's going to be the same list of comments, only a single comment, and then mutation when you are creating a comment, updating comment, and deleting a comment. And then in the next video, let's start writing the resolvers for it. Okay, this is going to be the simple. I can help you in writing. Let's say, so this is a type post, so it will be type comment, and here we are going to have id, text, id is id, text is a string, and then author is of type user, and then we have other input as author and the post which you are publishing. Okay, so type query is a single comment. This is single comment and this is comments. It is going to give us all the comments. Okay, what is wrong? It's a typo. id comments, and mutation is create comment, update comment, delete comment. So I will get this done, and in the next video we'll start adding the resolvers. Okay, thanks everyone.